Good morning, everybody. Enter the stars and a quick impromptu live show this morning on the AT&T building in Nashville. Now, I didn't really want to cover this story because it felt to me like some kind of a trap to draw people in, and then all the attention that we put on it from our community, then to flip the script and make this guy out to be crazy, which he probably was, or at least that's the storyline that they want us to believe, and then basically turn it all back on to us. In my opinion, this is probably a non-story. There wasn't mass casualties or anything like that, but we are going to decode the spiritual aspects of this story because it's very important. And this is what these people do. Now, if you're looking at your screen, you're seeing the word Nash, which of course is the root word for Nash. It's in Urdu, and it means sting or oculus. Sharp, stinging pain, discomfort, deliver a sting to. Insect's stinger. We've been saying for about a year now that the VCs represent the fangs of the serpent. That's why there are two separate VC inoculations. And here we have Nashville. Now, this is the tallest building in all of Tennessee, and it has the two stingers on the top of it. Now, this is also known as the Batman building, and we've been talking all about Batman, comparing Trump to Batman. He called himself Batman when a child asked him if he was Batman in a plane. And when one of the Batman actors died, he said that Trump could now take the torch and continue being Batman. So, here's what's interesting about this location. Now, I just picked this up this morning, thinking this would probably be a good show to look at. But look at all the numbers surrounding this building. We have 188 meters tall. We have 33 stories tall. These are not accidents. You have the building existing on an address that is 333. You can't make this up. This is definitely something that they want us to see. Now, when was October 24th? This is when this thing topped out. I haven't looked into that yet. Let's look that date up. See what day of the year it falls on. 297th with 68 remaining. But look at this. In a leap year, it forms a mirror. 98, 68. That is the same number flipped in reverse. So this tells me that this was probably intentional to some degree. Now let's go back in here. This building almost aligns to 288 degrees. So if you're taking any kind of notes right now and you're writing all these numbers down, you're beginning to realize that there's much more to this than meets the eye. Let's just zoom around this building so we can get a snapshot of what's going on here. If you look from the top, you will see 3 and 3 separate, I guess you call these outcroppings. Again, this is the Batman building, the tallest building in all of Tennessee, where the event took place on Christmas Eve. This could be all about Apollo. Of course, Apollo's birthday is on Christmas Eve, and you've got these outcroppings 3 and 3 or 6 on each side. That would be your 66. With the syringes atop the Batman building. So what this is it's some kind of spiritual sorcery, as far as I can tell at this point, drawing attention to this. So, very interesting stuff. Let's go back over to this here. Now, there is a Trump connection to all this. Look at this. Trump derailed some of the biggest tech deals of the last 4 years. The industry could look very different And look what they show here. It was almost like they knew this was going to happen. This story published on December 20th, just a few days before this happened. And they show the Scrooge and A Wonderful Life, of course, the most famous Christmas film of all time, in anticipation of this. Now, what was Trump's involvement in this? Well, the DOJ blocked AT&T's attempt to buy Time Warner. Time Warner then appealed. They won. Then the government came back and appealed that. And I think they lost the appeal according to this. But it all kind of, well, it actually didn't go well for AT&T because they were basically had missed the mark on this new wave of TV bundling that was going on. Or the Netflix, Amazon Prime that had basically started to infringe on the cable market. They missed the boat on that because they were blocked several times. Several other players came in and filled the void. Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu. And so it looks like AT&T missed the boat. So Trump blocked that merger. Now, I believe he said, let's see what the article says here. The reason why he blocked this tech merger, let's see here. Some people say it's because he didn't like CNN, but I don't buy that. It's more right-left paradigm garbage. But they said the DOJ attempted to craft a vertical integration argument, claiming the deal would mean higher monthly TV bills and fewer of the new emerging innovative option that consumers are beginning to enjoy. You always got to read between the lines with this stuff. I mean, that's the reason that they give, though. They were trying to allow us to have more streaming services. Vertical integration. So, this is the connection to Trump, other than the other esoteric and spiritual connections that we just made. And what else do we have here? Let's read through some of this. So here you see they call it the Batman Building. AT&T, previously Bell South, and before that South Central Bell, had operated its Tennessee headquarters out of the building since it opened in '94. That was 26 years ago. So there's a little bit of the story behind the building. So that's about all I could pull out of this building and the esoteric ramifications. This definitely is something to reinforce this VC. Okay. That's crazy. So let's get back in here into the chat, see what's going on with you guys. We're in the new year, 2021. We're all still here. As far as I know, we haven't had any blackouts. As far as I know, there hasn't been any problems with, Mart law rolling through the streets. We're still waiting for sealed indictments. So this new year might be a time for you to shift gears when it comes to who you follow on YouTube and how all these lies have come to fruition, and really look at what happened to us in 2020, how we were completely divided because of certain movements that were making big, bold promises that never came to fruition. And this is how you're going to be able to streamline, yourself as a person who's a free thinker, so that you can start to be effective in helping to spread the word about the things that matter. All right. And that's my advice for this next year. I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking more of a harder line on disinfo on this channel, where people come on and try to spread disinformation. We're going to be addressing the Yahweh is the devil, that false doctrine. We're going to be addressing that with some very simple, basic points about how Jesus himself referenced the Old Testament Yahweh, referenced him directly and quoted him. How could that Old Testament God be the devil if Jesus was talking about him in a positive light? It's very simple, you guys. Sometimes we get lost in the words and reading things into things when it's very easy and very basic. if you believe the Old Testament God Yahweh was the devil, then you have to believe Jesus was the devil. The two are interconnected because Jesus quoted him several times. So we're going to show you all the proof on that in an upcoming show. I also had a subscriber or two come on and was wanting to challenge and mislead the people on this channel regarding the old rules of the covenant that the Israelites had to follow. There was very specific rules for that people. And I'll give you a prime example. If a woman was on her menses, she was considered unclean. You weren't even supposed to be around her, and if you touched her, you became unclean too. Are we supposed to be going by those rules today? Absolutely not. Jesus proved it himself. He went around, was around many women in the Bible, and he was not unclean. There was no stories of Jesus telling someone to go outside the village because they were on their menses. I mean, this is ridiculous. So I had a couple of people, extremists, come on here and say I was being a, whatever you call it, dispensational. I don't even know what that word means. Saying that, oh, you can't throw out the law. I'm not throwing out the law. These are covenants, specific covenants for specific people that God ruled over. And he called it a covenant. This is my covenant with you. Covenant means a set of laws. Of course, the Ten Commandments stand, and that was the law that Jesus was talking about. So be careful with these people, because what they're going to do, this is a straw man. They tell you, oh, you do have to follow those rules. You cannot mix polyester with cotton or whatever other crazy rules. I'm not saying they're crazy, because God had a specific law. He had a reason for that. But he also dealt directly with those people. God doesn't reveal himself the way he did back then. So they had a specific mission. Their mission was specific. It was to maintain the bloodline of Christ to come and to fight off the opposing Nephilim armies, the serpent seed that was trying to eradicate them. So they had a mission, okay? And so basically, this is what you have to look at. You can't start to pass judgment on the Old Testament God, because when you do that, you're on very shaky ground. Nor are we supposed to be following all of those old ordinances. They're just not. And so that's where things stand now. And our example is Jesus. Because if we were supposed to be following those ordinances, wouldn't Jesus have followed them? Wouldn't his disciples have followed them? They're supposed to be our example. So don't let people draw you into these. They'll take a few scriptures, like 4 or 5 scriptures, and they'll massage them to make you believe and make you feel guilty that you're supposed to be following the law. Look at the example. Look at the example, which is what Jesus, there was an example in the Bible, his life and the disciples' life. And if any of those laws were supposed to be observed, they would have observed them. That's the bottom line. And if you can find in there where they observed any of those ordinances that the ancient Israelites did, please let me know, and I'll retract my statement. But I'm taking a harder line on that kind of stuff leaking into our little community here. I'll try to explain to somebody, but if they go off argument and try to just flood the comment section with all of their arguments instead of directly addressing what I just told you, then I'm blocking people. So that's just where we're going with 2021, because we don't have time for this, and it's just distraction, okay? And if they want to go and hang out on those channels where they're teaching that Yahweh is the devil, they can go do that, and they can all have their community over there. But it's not going to happen here, because that is throwing people off. So I'm also going to very seriously think about modding a lot more people, so that you guys can help me deal with the disinformation that's starting to leak onto this channel. As we've gotten bigger, a lot of basically the bots are bringing together their army to come against us, and so we need to be prepared. We need to be shored up. I think there's been enough proof on this channel over the last year to 2 years, for those of you that have been here, that we're on the right track. Virtually everything we talked about came to pass. And I'm not calling myself a prophet. It's almost to the point where people are starting to wonder, how is Casey and his channel and all the people on his channel, how are they figuring all this out? but they can't, and they're trying to accuse us of being shills or disinfo because there's no one channel who could have figured all this out before it happened. Well, we know how that's happening. We know that the Most High has gifted us with this so that people can wake up. And had we woken up sooner, we would be in a lot better position than we are now. With mandates on the horizon, employers threatening to force VCs on their employees, travel threatening to force VCs on travelers, we would be a lot further along had more people woken up. And make no mistake, the focus will shift on this channel to the seat of power. We're going to be doing Biden videos. So again, proving everybody wrong who comes against this channel saying that we're Trump haters, because Biden's going to get the same treatment. So those channels and those subscribers who came against us for the 4 years that we did criticisms on Trump, now you know what's going on, because it's just simply not true. It's whoever's in power. It's the right-left paradigm. They're both at fault for steering us in the wrong direction and keeping people asleep so that change cannot happen. If people just woke up and saw what was happening, we would be in a much better position. Now, those of you that come to this channel have done the hard work, and I appreciate you. When I say we, I'm talking about the truth community outside of this channel. I'm not talking about you guys. You guys are the best subscribers on YouTube, in my opinion, because you stuck with it and you saw the vision. You saw what we were trying to do. You saw what we were trying to warn people about. You saw it and you stood with it. But as you know, we are a very small part of the community. And a lot of people have come against us for various reasons. Well, it appears as though we've been proven correct. And all the point we're at now is we're at the precipice of mass fear, because every day on the mainstream and local media, they're just fearing people, saying the hospitals are full, saying that, there's story after story after story, but people aren't seeing it in actuality. They're only seeing it fed to them through the media. And so people are upset about this. And the pressure will build. We're also going to do a story on half the nurses now. This is the statistic that they're saying in the mainstream. Half the nurses in at least a couple states, one was Ohio, another one was another state, are not taking the VC. They're refusing it. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? So we're going to talk about that as well. We've got shows scheduled out for the rest of the week. If you're new to the channel, we go live pretty much every single day. Normally we'll take holidays or a weekend off sometimes, although lately we've been going live on holidays as well. But typically we'll come out in the mornings about 5:30 to 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And of course that would be 8:30 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the East Coast people out there. So here we are. What's going to happen now? Well, it's funny, some of these articles, we'll go and get into this on some of the other shows. Some of these articles talk about, what's going to happen now that these nurses aren't getting it? Well, you would think they'd be happy about that, right? Because there would be extra doses for the people that do want it. But instead, they spin it to make it seem like, now those nurses are obstructing all of us from getting back to normal. There will be no new normal. Normal happens when 90%, instead of 90% taking it, 90% wake up and just stop complying with all of the unfair things that they're putting upon us. That's when things go back to normal. When you decide it goes back to normal. Okay? And that's the bottom line, you guys. So let's go into the chat for a little bit, because that was pretty much the show that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Just share some words, let you know where we're going with 2020. And I'm done just, I think I'm done just debating, sitting and debating with someone when I clearly know that they're just going to push their agenda, try to push their agenda on my channel. So it's just going to keep us more focused. That doesn't mean you can't disagree. Okay, that doesn't mean that you can't disagree on this channel. Everyone is allowed a voice. Just be nice about it. Don't start calling me names. Don't start saying that I'm into propaganda or whatever else you think I'm doing. Okay? And you can't have a voice. And there are some deal breakers that I just simply won't allow on this channel. So, and I'll warn you, I'll say, look, you're going down a path here, and, you know, some people still want to go at it. And that's their, you know, that's your right, but you don't have to be here to do it. You can go somewhere else. So, all right. So, what else do we have here? Cool. Mr. Region's been following for 4 years, gone through 5 YouTube channels. Yeah, they've gone through and taken a lot of them down. We try to keep it streamlined here. We could try to be careful what we say, try to stay in good standing on YouTube. You guys can read between the lines of what I'm trying to tell you, but we don't have to say the actual words. And so that's where we're at with our channel. The channel's on paper, it's in good health. Now, we do know that YouTube can go through and just for no reason take you down, but there's really no reason why they would take this channel down. So I try not to focus on that. I just try to focus on making the channel, I guess you call it YouTube friendly. All right. Okay. Yeah, I believe the false right-left paradigm is also the strong delusion. I agree with that 100%. John Hopkins University motto, the truth will set you free. That would definitely be mockery. They were the ones coming up with a lot of these scenarios that then later played out almost verbatim with what we're going through right now with the spam-demic. So yeah, that would be mockery. Do we have to be, no, we don't have to be violent with anybody. Jesus taught peace. All of the disciples basically perished as martyrs. None of them even try to defend themselves. So, absolutely not. I follow Christ's example. He will be the one that comes back with the sword. He will be the dividing one. In the end, he will divide the wheat from the tares and enact retribution and judgment on all of those who punished God's people. So, okay, yes, we need to pray for those that are asleep. I agree 100%. Pray for them. There were so many asleep. So many Christians gave in to the deception. And here we are, set back. I'm not going to say it would have been less worse with a Democrat, because it would have been the same thing. If you find yourself defending one side or the other, you've already given into the right-left paradigm. When you wake up one day and say they're all the same, then you no longer are giving into the right-left paradigm. It's pretty simple. So I always know when someone's still stuck in the paradigm, when they get mad that I'm quote-unquote picking on Trump. I'm like, well, stay tuned. As soon as Biden gets power, we're going to be picking on him too. Now, we got some groundbreaking information on Biden in his USDA pick. We'll be going over that tomorrow. And this goes across right and left, you guys. Obama had this guy, Vilsack. I want to call him something else, but his name is Vilsack. And then we had, he stepped down during the Trump presidency, but Trump kept going along with this whole Monsanto merger and defending Monsanto and running interference for Monsanto. In fact, his USDA absolved them of any wrongdoing or harm based on, I think it was Roundup or something. So it didn't stop there just because Vilsack stepped down. So we're going to cover all that in detail. And then here we have Vilsack again with Biden. These people are all acting the same. There is no Republican Democrat, you guys. There is none. And we're going to also bring in Childhood's End into this story, because we did middle of last year or early last year, we did a video on Childhood's End. And you'll remember the scene where they're in their cornfields and he pulls out a syringe. So there's something about the syringes and the corn. Both are genetically modified, right? So there's more to this story, and Biden's here to inflict the venom. Trump made the venom. Biden will inflict the venom. Two sides working together. so that each of them can wash their hands of it, right? So let's see what else here. Okay. Thanks for coming, everybody. So there is no fear. Don't be afraid. God has all this under control. This is about choices. It's about what choice you make. You know, if I had voted in the election and was planning on trying to support Trump by taking the VC and, then I might be afraid right now. But if you stood your ground, then there is no need for fear because you made choices to go along with what Christ wants you to do. Okay, and that is to step outside of worshiping men and thinking men can solve our problems because they can't. Okay, I can't even solve your problems. I'm just a man. And I give all the glory to the Most High when it comes to things that we discover on this channel and how He's directing this channel. So I just hope that we can start to make right choices this year. It's going to be easy for a lot of you because a lot of you are more right-leaning like myself. So, but it just makes me sad that when another president does the same exact things that a left-leaning president would do, all of a sudden you support that president because he's on the right. You got to step outside of that, you guys. You got to step outside of it. Okay. Love you guys. And I'm going to keep this short because it's New Year's Day. Some of you are probably hungover. Hopefully you didn't overindulge last night. But have a cup of coffee. Have no fear. Enjoy your day. Don't be afraid of what the new year is going to hold. Don't expect that. I mean, things are going to get worse, but don't have all this unnecessary fear just because a Democrat's going to be in the White House. Okay. You don't have to because they're all working together. It's going to be the same old continued erosion of our rights. That's the first thing that's going to continue to happen. They're going to continue the technocratic fence, the infrastructure, 5G whiz. This is what Biden's going to be up to next. They're going to keep running cover for Monsanto. And everything I'm talking about here are bipartisan efforts flying under the radar that you haven't been really focused on because we keep believing in the right-left paradigm. These are bipartisan efforts. So this is what both sides are working to enact onto you. We also have the nanny state. So I'm reading articles now where they're segueing, some of these benefits that a lot of people got during the spamdemic. They're wanting to continue some of this in the forms of, time off of work and things. Now, that's never a bad thing, but anytime you involve the government, and they are responsible for larger and larger parts of your benefits and paychecks, then you are now beholden to that government when they come for something. Prime example, or the people with Social Security benefits, mental disability, who had payees, they were under threat of losing their right to own a GUN, right? And so this is one example of how they can just immediately threaten your benefit, but if you do not comply. I also suspect that they might come at some people that are getting benefits with this whole mandate. Now, so far, the government hasn't mandated the VC, but that could happen any day. Literally could happen any day, especially now with Biden in office. And he's saying he's going to do a national mask mandate. Okay? The time to stand up was when the mandates were happening already during the Trump presidency. That was our best hope. But you needed to call Trump out on it and demand that he stop what was happening to us. And not a lot of people did because they didn't want to make Trump look bad. And so now here we are. And now the job's a little bit tougher. It's a little bit harder because we didn't do the work that needed to be done before. Well, a lot of people on the right are going to stand against Biden, of course, because it's the right-left paradigm, right? And try to see it from a different perspective. Come against Biden because Biden is doing bad things, not because he's on a side. because once you agree to the side, you've already lost. Now, a particular sheriff in a particular town started to stand up for one particular business. I think High Impact Flicks did a spot on this. Sheriff stood up and said he will not enforce the closure of this restaurant because they refuse to make everybody sit and eat outside in the middle of winter. The only problem that I could see with that sheriff standing up was that he brought in the right-left paradigm. He said, us freedom-loving, right-leaning conservatives. The minute you do that, you've already lost. Though his intentions were noble, and though we need tens of thousands, even millions of more sheriffs like that to stand up like that brave sheriff, we need to also step outside of the right-left paradigm and understand this is a human right, not a right-left issue. So, I'm not telling you guys to be cowards. There's nothing in what I just said today that sounds like you should be a coward. So, again, I'm taking a hard line on this channel from now on. I'm not putting up with any nonsense. There's just no time. Take care, do you think, bro? So, what else do we have here in the chat? The bravest thing you can ever do is to stand against tyranny. What do you think we've been doing for the past year as our channel has been stunted because we've come against tyranny, which in this case was Trump? That's the bravest thing you can do, okay? That is the bravest thing you can do. Losing all of your family and friends is the bravest thing you can do. Telling the people that you love to think twice about going to get a VC is the bravest thing you can do. The easy thing is to talk all proud like you're going to do something and then never do anything. That's actually easy to do. The hard thing is to lose it all and not have any friends or family left because of what you believe in. So, let's see what else. Thanks. I got some offers for moderators. It's going to be a process. I'm going to have to take some time and just really look. I'm going to look back at comments that people have made, people that are offering to be moderators. I just need to be very, very careful about who I moderate, okay? And I'm not saying it because I don't trust you guys. It's just that that's another thing I need to do a little bit better on this channel, is be better about managing the channel. Let's put it that way. For the people that like to talk tough about, whatever it is that you think you're going to do, the time to do it was like a long time ago, okay? When we all got forced to wear masks and businesses all shut down. And apparently no one's stepped up. So, and nor did I want them to. But I'm just saying, from your thought process of talking tough, it does absolutely nothing to, talk tough like that and then have nothing to back it up. All right. So, all right. Yeah, me too, Michael. I have all of you guys as friends, but it's different. Like I don't really have people I visit and hang out with. I got a couple friends, but I rarely see them because they live so far away. And that's okay, because we all have each other, right? We all have each other on this channel. And at least you're not going out of your mind. When we all tune in and get together and we talk about all this stuff, you can see all of the people that agree with you. You can see that you're not crazy for standing outside of the right-left paradigm. And so that's your encouragement. That's your encouragement. All right. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get to it. Be saved always. You guys, that is the focus. Be saved. Say a prayer. Talk to God. Ask Him to show you some clarity in this life and reason. And accept Jesus into your heart. Don't get hung up on all the legalism of what people try to guilt trip you into. All right? Do the best you can. This is a process. God will sanctify you. He will build you up into a place. This is just the beginning. So many times in the legalistic aspect of all this, the second you give your life to Christ, they drop this dragnet onto you and place all these rules, and you have to go to church, and you shouldn't believe in this, and you should believe in the Trinity, or you shouldn't believe in the Trinity, and if you don't know God's name, then you're not following the true religion. And they just throw all this stuff at new Christians, and at the end of the day, God will reveal all of those things to you in your walk. This is just the beginning of it all, and don't let those people trip you up and try to drag you into their club, only to find out later that they were misleading you. Okay? So that's my advice for you guys going into 2021, and I hope God reaches you. I hope you say a prayer and he reaches you. I pray that he comes into your heart and reveals the truth to you, so that you can get closer to him and have more understanding of how he works and why he does things. I think the biggest thing right now for all of us is a lot of people can't understand why there's so much suffering in the world. Well, that's not God's fault. Just the same way he gave us a choice, he's also got to give the devil a choice. And that's why you have an escape hatch, and it's called Jesus. He's the escape hatch. And even if you suffer a little bit, or you see somebody suffering, you'll have eternity on the other side. This life is just a hiccup. It's just a glitch in time. On the other side is eternity. Think of things like that. Keep your eyes fixed on heaven, not this material world, where things can be taken away from you, where moths and dust destroy. This isn't our home. We're not part of this world. Everything I just told you are biblical principles. They're right out of the Bible, but we often forget that. We hold on so harshly, like the person in the chat that I just had to block because they said that I'm telling them to lay down and take it. Why are you holding on so harshly to your life when there's eternity on the other side? Why do you have to take somebody else out to protect your stuff? That's what the devil wants. He wants to draw you into that thinking, so that you try to preserve your life and then lose it. Those who lose their life actually preserve it. That's what we're supposed to be focused on. Not to say you can't whack someone in the leg or hit them over the head if they try to take your stuff or harm someone you love. Absolutely you can. But should we be really thinking about taking people out permanently? Is that what Jesus wants us to do? To have that mindset? Living by the sword and dying by the sword? Absolutely not. So, I love you. Have a great day, everybody. 2021. Be safe.